Sorry, my brother was snapping me. But like I said, the amount of time that you've dated someone, the grieving should match that amount. So it wouldn't make sense to cry over someone for 5 days if they didn't see your worth or your value. It wouldn't make sense to cry over someone for 5 months. It's not about, just like I said, just making sense. It's just a matter of, and this actually happened to me. I had a guy tell me I was in a relationship for 5 months. I basically got played, but didn't realize I was being the side chick, I guess. And this guy at work, I was like bawling my eyes out because this dude just like wanted nothing to do with me. And I was just like so upset. And I remember this guy that's older than me walked over to me and he was like, "Why are you crying? I heard you got, you broke up or something. Like, what's going on? How long have you guys been together?" And I told him 5 months. I was like, 5 months? And he was like, "You're crying over," he's like, "Don't be crying over that. This is a man's advice, okay? That's not even just my advice. This is a man's advice." And in the beginning, I didn't quite understand what he was saying. Like, I was thinking, I'm hurt. I should be allowed to cry. And even though, yes, that may be true, here's why. Because he flat out told me, he goes, it wasn't worth it. If he wasn't willing to work it out with me and be in a relationship longer with me, and he was just going to up and leave within 5 months and was playing me the whole way, there's nothing to cry about. Be grateful, is what he was saying. Be grateful that I got out of that. Be grateful that I wasn't going to be bound to someone that didn't care about me or didn't even want to be with me in the way that I wanted to be with him. So that's the take on it. And that's why I was saying your grieving process should be equivalent or match the amount of time that you've been with someone. So I was with someone for like 9 years. Now that, it's obviously I'm not going to get over that person in a day or a week or even a month, even a year. Like, I can do a lot of healing, but you got to realize there's a lot of damage. There was a lot of intimacy and a lot of heartbreak and a lot of years that I spent with that person. So the person that I was with for 9 years compared to the person I was with for 5 months, like I said, even though they say time is not really like a factor as far as like you can meet the right person and it could feel right within 2 months, that is true. But just keep in mind, like I said, if you're dating someone, the person that I was dating for 9 years, I was in love with that person. The person that I was with for 5 months, I wasn't in love with. I was still actually in the process of getting to know him, but we were already dating. So, and I keep doing this because it's like it wasn't actually dating, it's just what we called it at the time. I didn't realize his definition of being with me was more like as a side chick. I didn't recognize all the signs and symptoms of that. So that's for another video. Sorry, not symptoms, but red flags. But so number one is what to do after a breakup is grieve. Like, allow yourself the opportunity to grieve. Don't hold it in. Don't get even and get revenge. Like, just grieve, okay? Go through the emotional process of figuring out why this happened, what happened, how it happened, like process it, okay? So, number one is grieving. Number two is make sure you have all your things, okay? Like, if it's one of those situations where you were living with someone and you have to leave some stuff behind because you have to move, then so be it. Don't try to, if it's an abusive situation, do not go back for that, okay? I don't care how important it is. If it's, excuse me, now if it's something that is legal, like legal documents, papers, things like that, if you can't get your hands on those, then yes, you'll probably have to go to the court or Social Security office or something like that to get another copy or go through the process. It may be annoying, it may be a pain in the butt to do that, but which is worse? Risking your life to go back to an abuser who could end your life just for a piece of paper that's important, or going to the courthouse or going to wherever building you need to go to get documents of whatever, get it resolved, and just take the process to get it done. Another alternative, like I said, when it comes to important paperwork and things like that, is police. If there's a police officer that is willing to go with you, if you are able to have them escort you, once the court knows what's going on, I mean, you could probably ask a police officer. I'm not guaranteeing that they're actually going to comply with you and they're actually going to do whatever you ask, but it just depends on the person, the police officer, the community. It just kind of depends on where you're at, what's going on, what the situation is, because everyone is different. Um, I know for a matter of fact that I had a police officer when I was getting my protective order done on a ex. He flat out told me, if there's anything you need, he said we can go get it or we can come with you to go get it. And I was like, okay, but I just chose to leave it alone because I was like, I don't want it. And also because, like I said, the other reason to get your stuff is because it's your things. If you're the one who's planning a sneak break, like if you're trying to sneak out of the relationship because like quietly because you are in an abusive situation, that's what I mean. Like I had to leave a rocking chair behind. I had to leave a full-blown nice book stand or bookshelf behind. Like guys, like sometimes you just have to leave things behind, and then sometimes you have to get the things that are yours, and you just have to know. Excuse my dog, like he is having a sneeze session over there. I don't know what he's doing. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. But basically, all in all, depending on what your situation is, if there's items of yours, like if you already know if you're the person that's going to be doing the breaking up with, get your stuff, have it ready to go. Don't wait till the last minute because you're too scared to talk to them, because it's just going to make matters worse. It's going to it's not going to be good, because think about it. If you and that person have a very bad fallout or it turns south real quickly, you're not going to be able to go back there and get it if that person's angry or if they want to destroy your stuff or if they want to sell your stuff. So whatever is yours, make sure you have it ASAP when you're doing the breaking up. Either do it before, like be getting items out somehow, or you're just going to have to choose to let it go and leave it alone and just do not go back. If you're wanting, and that's leading into number 3, which is closure. Closure is not something you absolutely have to have. Shocking, I know. If you want to argue with me on that, I'm just going to tell you right now, you do not need closure for everything in that exact instant. Because, just like I said, you don't realize sometimes the people that you're breaking up with, if it's an abuser, or if it's someone who's very violent and angry, or someone who's just does have mental health issues to where it can lead to, I don't know how to say it, just like an episode of something that can cause them to go into a violent rage because they're out of character or they're just not themselves. You have no idea the extent of what this person may have in mind for you if you go back to them. If you just want to talk it out, they're going to agree to you to talk it out. Of course they're going to agree to you. You don't realize if they're wanting to kill you or if they're wanting to injure you and get back at you, revenge. Of course, they'll be willing to talk to you. They're going to do more than talk. They're going to, I don't know, basically give you a lesson. The guy that I was with for like, I don't know, a year off and on, he had a lot of anger issues. And whenever I chose to back away from him because I really wanted to break up with him, because my gut was telling me I do not need to be with this guy, and I wasn't listening, every time I would go back to him, it would get worse and worse and worse. Like, we're talking about, in the beginning, he didn't really have too many, like, I don't know, signs, I guess, of abuse. He was like Mr. Nice Guy. And then when I realized, you know what, he showed a little bit of aggression, I told him maybe we should just be friends because I wasn't feeling it. He didn't like that, and so he allowed me my space. But then when I told him, okay, I'll give him a second chance, I went back to him, and then he started name calling. He started, making fun of me. He started basically just verbal stuff. And then I left him for that because I was like, I'm not okay with that. And then I thought maybe I was just, jumping the gun too quick. So I went back to him a third time. And it was like, at this point, he's getting really controlling. He wants me to hand over my phone. He's eyeballing me. He's touching me all the time. And I don't mean like sexually. I just mean like he's constantly like putting his hand on me, like touching me to remind me that he's right there, just trying to make me feel uncomfortable and like kind of like an animal on a leash. And like I said, anytime that I thought about leaving, he would have his friends basically block me and make sure that, I couldn't really go anywhere until I agreed to stay with him. And him and I ended up splitting up because I walked away because he got angry drunk one night and he fired a gun. It was not at me, but he had aimed it at me. And then at some point, after like tossing the gun back and forth, he just kind of put it up in the air and then shot it. And like I said, I was just like, if I stick it out with this guy, if I continue to stay with him, I'm going to get shot. I'm going to get hurt. I may actually die. So that is my advice. You can take it, you can leave it. I don't care what you do with it. But I am going to tell you that I really hope you take it, because some of you right now are in situations where you really don't have an option. If you continue to stay with this person, you're going to die. If you continue to stay with this person, the abuse is going to intensify. It's going to get worse. If it was a good guy, he would put away childish things. He would put away aggressive things. He would start learning how to be more like a man and less like a child. He would start learning to be more, I don't know, respectable, more trustworthy. He would not put you in a position where you feel like you are walking on eggshells, or that your, stomach is on edge because it's like you don't know what's going to happen next. That's not a really good person, guys, okay? I don't care who you are, what your living situation is. I'm sorry if you grew up in a situation like that where maybe your parents are like that and that's normal to you. That's not a good normal, okay? You need to get far away from that type of lifestyle as far as possible. So if you're breaking up with someone like that because they're abusive, or they are very neglectful and hateful, bitter and angry all the time, and just constant rudeness, and constantly being narcissistic and just making you feel whatever kind of way, like I said, if you break up with them, you basically, they're, I don't know how to say this, the way they live their life is your closure. If they tried to kill you, if they tried to hurt you, if they were sabotaging you, crushing any ideas, or ruining, sorry, not crushing, but just ruining any ideas that you had planned, if they are not building you up and lifting you up, and they're actually tearing you down constantly, what kind of closure do you need? If you want to know why they did it, it's simple. Because one, you're allowing it, and two, because there isn't really anyone stopping them. If everyone around them, if they're putting on a show, then everyone around them in your circle and in his circle, they all think he's the good guy. They all think that, you don't realize that he's showing, I mean, you do, but I mean, they don't. They don't realize that he's putting on an act. He's putting on a front. He's putting on a show, his representative of, as Tony Gaskins would say, of what he wants them to see and what he wants them to believe. But behind closed doors, he's threatening to hurt you, or he's already abusing you, or he's causing you to feel terrorized and, just basically feel like you're going crazy and just being scared out of your mind. If you were to walk away from that, and I mean truly walk away from that, the only closure that you need is that he has not healed. He doesn't know God. He doesn't know himself. And the reason why he's doing all this stuff is because he thinks he can. He thinks he honestly can. He thinks that because he hasn't got caught by police, or because he thinks that the police aren't going to take him and haul him off to jail, because he thinks that you're going to continue to stay with him because you keep going back, that's his reason enough. If it was so bad for you, you would be gone, long gone, and stay gone. That's the thing, stay gone. Which is number 4, stay gone. When it's done, it's done. Like, there's no going back. Sometimes you need to allow God to let you get the closure that you need on people. He can do that. He can connect the dots for you. I'm trying to think. If you are not a Christian, then this might be hard for you to grasp or understand, but God he gives us the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is the person who, God's Spirit, who basically gives us insight and information when we need it. Like, it's not like a genie or mind games or anything like that, or a psychic. The Holy Spirit, just, it's God's spirit, you know. He's going to lead you, direct you, guide you. He's going to help you get through this heartbreak. He's going to help you mend your broken heart. He's going to help you connect the dots and put the pieces together. So that's just who the Holy Spirit is and what he does. You know, he doesn't just help you with heartbreaks. He helps you with everyday life. He helps you make decisions on anything if you ask him and include him in anything that you're doing. That's the whole purpose of why God gave you the Holy Spirit. So, like I said, when you are done, and I mean done with the person that you're breaking up with, stay gone. And if this person dumps you, at that point, this is going to be for another video, but I'm just going to say this. If this person dumps you, depending on his character, depending on what he's about, if he's not a man of God, if he's not going through a hardship, if he's just basically, especially if he was cheating on you, or if he was just dating you just because he was bored, then you need to leave those people alone. Just let them walk, let them go, leave them be, leave them alone. And if it's someone who, I don't know, like, if it's someone who really had your attention, really has your heart, and is actually really, really there for you, and they really, really want to be with you, and they made a mistake, or maybe they were brought up a certain way, and they weren't for sure how to handle the situation because they're trying to change, but they're acting like their parents, or maybe they weren't taught exactly how to handle things. In that case, like I said, give it to God, pray about it, give some space. And if God is leading that person to come back into your life, then you know it's God it's for your will. Not exactly, like I said, I'll have to do a thorough, deeper video on this. If that man comes back into your life and maybe he just had to sort some things out, or he had to change his ways, or work on finances, or whatever it is. Finances aren't really a big issue with men to an extent when it comes to a woman, as long as she's not taking him for all his money. But other than that, like, most men, rich or poor, you know, that's the whole point of marriage and stuff. Like, they want to be with you through all that. But sometimes a man that just goes through stuff and he just really needs you kind of out of the picture while he handles it, and then we'll come back. And that's if he's a good guy, if he's a guy of God, a man of God, or if he's just is like where you guys met and you were the right people for each other, but it wasn't the right time, it wasn't the right season. So like I said, I'll do another video for that. But for the most part, if you and this person split, no matter if it was, especially if it really was him dumping you, this is why I also say stay gone, because it doesn't mean that you can't ever let him come back into your life as long as he's not abusive. It's, if this man is from God for you, he may actually have to work on himself completely before coming back. Like, he's got to have a whole heart. He's got to be right with God. He's got to, you know, just a lot of things he's got to tend to. He's got to be healthy, a healthy fit, or a healthy match for you. And even though, yes, that can hurt and be painful, you cannot interfere with what God's doing with the work that he's doing on that man. You know, just like he's working on you, he's also working on that man. Now, if this is a guy who's abusive or manipulative, or if he's just, you know, a guy who's bored and he was dating you and then he dumps you, whether it be 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years in, no matter what, like, if now this guy comes back into your life after you've given some distance and you've stayed gone for a while, and this guy comes back into your life, you need to test it. Like, you need to bring that to God, and you need to be like, God, you know, this guy and I, you know, broke up however long ago, and I thought I would never see or hear from him again. I don't talk to him. I don't keep tabs on him. I'm not, you know, doing whatever to see what he's doing. And he just, poof, came back in my life. Okay. So in the world, that would be called, you know, an F-boy, or F-U-C-K boy. I'm not going to say it because I don't cuss anymore, but that's pretty much definition of that. He just wants to come and mess things back up in your life just because you're doing good. It's basically sabotage. That could be the case if he's coming back. The other thing is, when God starts doing a good thing in you, and he's healing your heart, he's mending things. Obviously that guy may somehow have you on his mind because he realized he messed up and he did wrong, and he may look at you online, or if you're someone who's like in a film industry or music or anything like that, anytime like they hear you doing good, doing well, going big on whatever it is, or even if you're not going big, you're just doing really well in your life, and they catch wind of it, they might want to see for themselves, or they might think that, oh, like if she might still, there might still be a chance her and I can get back together if she's making a lot of money, or if she's just doing really good and he can't find anyone as good as you. Like, he may try to come back in your life. Now, at that point, like I said, definitely take it to God, definitely pray over it, because, like I said, that guy may not actually be coming back into your life because he actually wants to be with you. He may just be coming back into your life because you have something he wants, whether it be money or fame or just a good life. Like, you just bring a lot of laughter to the table, and you bring a lot of care and love, and he couldn't get that anywhere else. Those guys just gotta go. Like, that, you just gotta stay gone from the guys of your past. And if it's someone that God really wants you to be with, you'll know, because God's not gonna let you miss it. Like, he will give you all the signs in the world as long as you're paying attention. He will remind you of this person constantly. This person will, the same thing will be happening to that person, and then basically you guys will cross paths at some point, and the rest is history. Like, you guys can make your amends, you can talk it out, and you guys are good to go. But for the other guys, if they cheated on you, lied on you, if they used you, manipulated you, abandoned you, abused you in any way, shape, or form, sexually, physically, mentally, emotionally, verbally, don't go back to them. Don't let them come back in. Leave them alone. They were there, they messed up, they dropped the ball on you, they have no business being back in your life, okay? Let those ones go. So, number 5, and this is kind of like a really big one, and this is why I saved it for last. Number 5 is just get closer to God and really tap into who you are. Really, like, get to know yourself. Take yourself on dates. Take as much time in the world as you need to heal. Do therapy if you need to, if it was really, really traumatic for you. Pick the right therapist. Don't just pick any therapist. Really do your research and time looking in to see what would be a good fit for you. If therapy's not your thing, then you need to jump on YouTube and start watching people like me, or Tony Gaskins, or Latoya Okia, anybody like that who's really helping with building your life back up, and also working in relationships. Like, study relationships. Don't just figure out, study what went wrong. Do some reflecting about yourself and the previous relationship you were in, and really take to heart, not in a bad way, but the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Like, what could you have done here that would have been different? If you should ever get in another relationship, what could you do different in this one than what you did in the last one? Would you find yourself, dating someone again? Do you have boundaries? Do you have standards? Like, do you have, not like rules, but just a certain preference for how you want to live your life? Like, having those grounded in you, and having morals, and having God on your side, and healing, and, taking the time that it takes to really learn about yourself is going to go a long, long, long way. Okay, it's going to help keep you out of trouble. It's going to help keep you out of relationships that you don't need to be in. It's going to help you avoid a lot of abusive relationships. Like I said, sorry this is really long, but actually, no, I'm not sorry. Like, you guys need to hear this. It's important, and God had me get on here today to do this. By all means, like, just make sure that you really, date yourself, get to know yourself, take God with you, and get to know God while you get to know yourself. And the journey, like for me it was like a year, a complete solid year pretty much of no sex, no dating, no talking to other guys, just pretty much focusing on me. And it was literally an incredible year of my life. Okay. So that was in 2020. Well, 2019 going into 2020. 2021 has been even more just like isolated and kind of like not a bad isolation. It's just kind of like stepping away from the old and your old way of life, your old way of living, your old friends, old everything, and just really taking in the new perspectives, new memories, new understanding and teachings of relationships and self-worth and respect, and owning up to your mistakes, realizing that looking back, I could have told someone something differently, I could have done something differently. So I don't know if that helps you guys. And also, just a bonus, don't ever live on regret. Okay, the mistakes you made, they were there for a reason. There's always going to be mistakes, but there's also always going to be miracles. There's always going to be forgiveness and grace when you're doing life with God, especially in relationships and stuff. I mean, life is all about living, learning, and growing. And as long as you're moving forward and you're paying attention to what you could have done differently and you apply what you learn, then sweetheart, you're not making mistakes. You're making progress, okay? You're just on a journey. So I hope this helps you guys. I love y'all. And I hope you have an amazing new year, because today is New Year's Eve. And just going into 2022, I wanted to let you guys know all this stuff in case y'all are breaking up or having a new path in life. Just like I said, stay gorgeous and glorious, keep God first, and remember to walk in your worth. Bye, guys.